Welcome to the Eureka Street Crypto Podcast.
Good afternoon. It's Eureka John, and you're at Eureka Street Crypto, broadcasting from Leander, Texas. It is 3 o'clock in the noon, and this is episode number 448. Yeah, I've been doing this since October 24th, 2020, and this is just kind of my daily video blog, aka brain dump. I explore all aspects of the crypto space. Definitely a generalist, because there's just so much out there in the crypto space. And sometimes people ask me, like, whoa, yeah, you're doing really good on crypto, you rich yet, and stuff like that. Sometimes they say it facetiously with a little smirk, and I say, well, I literally am in it for the tech. I'm here for the tech. I'm here for the ideas. I'm here for the free flow stream of consciousness that seems to be happening in the crypto space. All this organic idea generation and new way of doing things. This paradigm shift is happening right now. And if you're not engaged in it, you're going to miss it. And this is where we are. So if money happens, great. If it doesn't, okay, what it is, it is what it is. I'm here for it. And I can say, I can get my bumper sticker. I was here during the great crypto paradigm shift. So yes, today I have an interesting project with me. I have the Cafe DAO. And I don't know if you know what a DAO is, but a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. It is a kind of a new old way of doing an organization, doing a business, where everybody focuses around a codified set of rules that are in code, and people vote in code. The treasury is held in code. Everything is decentralized. Everything's autonomous, and it's an organization. It's not a top-down structure, but it is a flat structure in which everybody gets to have ownership and participate. So I want to welcome you guys to the stage here and to my show. Thank you so much for coming on. I already can tell this is going to be fun. This is going to be an entire wealth of new idea alpha that's just going to sprout out here. So I guess we can start right here. I will just drag you up to the stage. You don't know who it is, and it's you. So I'll let you say who you are. Hi. And yeah, go for it.
Hey, I'm Dan Carr with the Coffee Cup, and I am co-founder of the Cafe DAO. I'm just so happy to be here and just say hi to everyone listening to us, watching us. I'm just excited. Thank you.
Right on. And let's bring you up to the stage.
Hey guys, this is Dustin. I'm Discord handle is Kira-san. Also just a humble DAO member of the Cafe DAO.
Right on. And last but not least,
I'm John with no H, or John, however you want to say it. Yeah, one of the DAO members. I came into the DAO, I think it was like January or something, and been helping out ever since.
Okay. All right. So I guess I will take back the main stage here for just a second, not too long. I don't want to focus on me. I want this to focus on you guys. Coffee shops. All right. That's what you guys are centered around, as far as I know. And coffee shops, I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. Spent as a child a little bit of time in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but mostly Houston. And before the 90s, coffee shops kind of just seemed like something coffee was just something you got at 7-Eleven, or you got at Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. And you ran in, you got a quick coffee, or you had Sanka or Folgers or something like that, instant coffee. And that's about it. And then I remember in the 90s, suddenly this culture started developing around this new era of coffee shops that were sprouting up all over the inner part of Houston and the hip little neighborhoods and everything like that in the Montrose area. And DJs would show up and spin records at these coffee shops, and you would take your college books and you would spend hours there studying with a DJ playing down tempo music. And, it was just this whole ambiance, and you hear the espresso machine, and, it was really cool. And then Starbucks came around, and back then, before, as we know Starbucks now, it was quite interesting and revolutionary, and it brought in this whole idea of sitting in the coffee shop that we had never really had before. So back in the day, Starbucks was really novel and a really cool concept. Nowadays, obviously, everything really cool and novel runs its course. You come up with new cool and novel ideas. And as we move into the crypto and decentralization space, we have DAOs popping up, and we have a new idea sprouting up here. And I would like to give you guys the floor to talk a little bit about this new way of doing coffee shops. So who would like to go first?
I think I'll go first. So Dan here, and yeah, what you said about coffee, about Starbucks popping up in the 90s. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that really clearly. Actually, one of my first jobs ever was working at a coffee shop, and I've been in the coffee industry for, wow, I don't know, 12 years now, and I've seen that evolution. And I believe that the Cafe DAO is that next step in the evolution of coffee shops. And I would like to see us bring a new level to the whole industry. Of course, we're starting with baby steps, and we're taking it slow. We're really thinking this out methodically. How can a coffee shop be run as a DAO? And, no one's ever done this before, but we're spearheading this, and we're welcoming everyone that wants to come on board, because this is a collaborative effort. This isn't just me or Dustin or John. We're all united in this together to build this brand new system where we share profits equitably with the workers, with our community, with our customers. And I'm just really excited to see this all coming together. Dustin, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely agree with Dan there. I come from a background of more of a project work. I'm not particularly in the coffee space. I do love coffee, but it's more of like a side habit or habit/hobby for me. The interesting thing about the Cafe DAO is that we're trying to approach this completely differently. Like, coffee shops have been figured out, and there's many ways to do it, from mom and pop all the way to like Starbucks level, right? And you got like Blue Bottle, some niche third wave stuff. The unique thing about the Cafe DAO, in my humble, from a single DAO member perspective, is that it's ownership. So I'm always thinking the difference between Web 1, 2, and 3. Web 3 is surrounding owning the project and products that you participate in. It's not controlled by any individual. So like Howard Schultz doesn't have more say if you were part of the Cafe DAO than anybody else. A DAO member is a DAO member. I'm a DAO member. Someone else can come in as a DAO member and throw proposals in and then completely disagree with me. As long as the majority rules, then we go forward with that solution. This is all an experiment so far, and I'm very fascinated to see where this experiment goes. I think that this approach with something that's kind of well-founded, a coffee shop, married with Web3, will give more application to Web3. Right now, the cryptoverse has like a large criticism of like what is actually happening there. There's people exchanging things around. With real life applications such as the Cafe DAO, and there's others, we are trying to marry the real worlds with Web3. In the end, we don't want a random customer walking in and need to fumble with their crypto wallets. They just transact normally, but through the Web3 space. And if they're interested, it's a new way to capture or bring more regular day people into Web3. Similar to how NFTs brought artists onto Web3, this may be a way to bring in just everyday person to Web3.
Yeah. It's kind of a way to bring the brick and mortar in. Go ahead, John.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna kind of say the same thing. Like it's another way of a mass adoption, in my opinion, and that's kind of what intrigued me by the project initially. What brought me into it. I don't have a project manager background, so we're very very glad to have Dustin on board to kind of keep us all on track. But yeah, like I've held cryptocurrencies in the past and used them for minor purchases here and there, but I definitely am not big in the Web3 space. DAOs was kind of my rabbit hole. And so I kind of see this as a mass adoption type thing for more people like myself who's, not currently in a tech realm to kind of get into that tech realm and find a footing in there.
Well, I definitely don't have any web development skills. So, but as the co-founder, I'm relying on other people with those skill sets to come on board. And I'm absolutely certain that we will find those people, especially since we have the pop-up coming up in just, in literally 2 weeks, like 2 weeks from today. And I'm positive we'll find those people that have those skills. Although I have to say, Dustin did a fantastic job coming up with, we kind of sort of jerry-rigged the system that we have right now. And Dustin, I have to, my hat's off to you for figuring that out, because it was really clever how you came up with the system. And maybe we could talk about that a little bit too. But we're figuring it out, all three of us, without having like a real technical like knowledge, but we're working it out. And surprisingly, it was working surprisingly well.
Nice. Yeah. Coffee shops are a place for experimentation. I mean, one of the first real life applications of Bitcoin was people trying to buy a cup of coffee. That and pizza, but I mean, everybody's always trying to figure out, and it's always this kind of like, it's almost a language shelling point of everybody pointing to, but can you buy a cup of coffee with it? And everybody's always asking about the utility of a blockchain. And they're like, well, Ethereum's a little cumbersome to buy a cup of coffee with, and so is Bitcoin at this point still too. And then a lot of lightning fast blockchains are like, we can easily transact, buy a cup of coffee, but they have no organic growth around it. So the coffee shop is kind of this technological shelling point where everybody centers around and focuses on trying to make that work first. I mean, coffee shops are kind of an experimental place, with architecture, with operations structures and things like that, just different ways of approaching and trying out and experimenting with new thought patterns. And even back in the French Revolution, a lot of those new ideas came in coffee shops, so this is really cool that you guys are starting to say that and experiment around with this. I do want to know, since this is a DAO, and a lot of people don't understand what DAOs are, how do you explain it, and how is it different from like a collective or a co-op or something like that?
Let me jump in here actually. So this is like a philosophical question. So right now, we are not operating on any blockchain. The way we are bootstrapping this is like a not random, but it's a chain of Google Sheets, e-signatures, and surveys. In order to move quickly and move efficiently, without figuring out and putting a ton of money down to figure out our working solution, we're just working with the minimum viable products of just something we can use quickly and simulate what it would look like if we were to spend the money and go on chain. Now, the philosophical question here is, are you a DAO if you aren't on chain? I feel like the answer is yes, in my opinion, because let's like break down like just the words: decentralized, autonomous, organization. Decentralized, I feel like that's a means to achieve something, and to achieve something is so that there's no central authority. So that's, in my opinion, decentralized is a means to achieve something. Autonomous organization, so autonomous, it will just operate indefinitely, just as a group, or with smart contracts, you can just operate indefinitely because it's code. If there's people involved, then the spirit of the DAO needs to go on among the people. And I feel like the Cafe DAO has that. If I were to disappear, Dan, John, whoever else will continue on and work. An organization, of course, we're an organization. But there's more to DAO than just those three words, in my opinion. So another one is like immutability. Immutability also, I think, is a means to an end, similar to decentralized. Like decentralization leads to immutability by not allowing any individual to have the keys. Right now, I can't claim that we are immutable. I have the passcode to the Google Sheets that we use. Unfortunately, you gotta trust me that we're not just printing, our simulated coffee tokens. But I am showing everybody to the world. If you have the URL, you can see the full history of the Google Sheets. I'm not just making things up, and anybody go in and verify this. This is not scalable. However, I feel like with the size that we have, and if you are trying to figure out if part of the project is not fully on chain, like we're not Uniswap, our core competency is selling coffee. We need to figure out both sides of this. And then as we figure out the operation side, we need to figure out, we also need just a working solution on the blockchain side that we will eventually use to become fully decentralized and immutable. That's kind of like my take on this. So DAO, I believe so, but I think a lot of people will look at us and say, that's interesting. I might come back to this when they're on chain, but I think the soul and spirit of a DAO is with us. And in my opinion, that's what really matters.
That's a really good take on that. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of paper trading before you actually start, going in and really being able to, put everything at stake. So.
Yeah. We do have ways that we plan to like airdrop. Like we are tracking ETH addresses. So we have a mechanism to reward those who have participated early on. That's why like all of us, continue to do what we're doing. If there's no light at the end of the tunnel, then we probably lose commitment. And one thing I want to bring up later on is like the mess it is to run a DAO. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but someone in Discord mentioned that democracy is hard, and it came at a point when all of us were at each other's throats on some random topic, and it's just like, wow, it's so hard to come to decisions with strangers. Like all three of us, we didn't know each other prior to this, and yet we're working so closely with each other. I'm spending so much time on this project just because it's so fun, and it's amazing how this can happen just through Discord, Reddit, and Web3.
I like that. It's you're not building the airplane as you're flying. You're really creating a model before you create the larger scale operation, and that's what a lot of engineers do. They create the model first. Yeah, exactly. So what would you say, like, for instance, some people who are skeptical of crypto and they say, oh, it's just a fad. NFTs are a fad. Bitcoin, they call Bitcoin a fad, and IoT devices a fad, So do you think DAOs could possibly be a fad or another bubble?
No, I don't think DAOs could be a fad. I think there's a hunger out there in the world right now to see this come and grow. People want to work together. They want to build communities together. You see these NFT communities, they've sprung up overnight, and these DAOs sprung up overnight. The best example of a DAO springing up overnight, Constitution DAO, which I think is still to this day probably the most important DAO that's probably arisen. Just to see, it's the proof of concept, really. Like to be able to spring up in a week and try to purchase a copy of the Constitution, that was incredible. That really put DAOs in the mainstream media. Like I remember reading about that on CNBC.com and all these other mainstream publications, New York Times. And that's when I knew that this idea is too big to fail. And there's going to be people out there that are going to try to bring this into the real world. I believe that the Cafe DAO is one of those DAOs that will succeed.
Right on. Yeah. I got a question too about now that we've talked about some of the more ideals and philosophical concepts of it. Let's get into some of the nuts and bolts. I want to know a little bit about is this legal? How is it legal? What are is this in Washington State? You guys are setting up a pop-up shop. So talk to me a little bit about that. I want to hear.
I was going to say, I can kind of speak to that a little bit. Like that's actually one of the things that we were kind of at each other's throats, is the whole legal aspect of it, because we are trying to figure this out. And, there's multiple ways of going about it. But obviously with it being a physical aspect, with us selling coffee, we needed to have a physical business license to be able to do this. So it was important to get something together. So to that end, we currently have a Washington LLC. We worked through Cafe DAO, if you've heard of them. And so we're using that temporarily.
Is that like California DAO or KALI?
Spelled with a K.
Okay.
Spelled with a K, but they're a subset or spinoff from LexDAO. So they help out with like setting up DAOs with LLCs and that type of thing. And they've got a few different templates that you can go through, but we actually requested specially to have a Washington one to make it easier to operate business there. So they were willing to work with us. I guess that's our endorsement for them. But the LLC, we are at least currently aligned in that being a temporary legal structure for us, because we think that an LCA legal structure might fit the DAO more appropriately. And then I can pass it off to Dan to kind of speak more to this, but because of that, that would help us kind of limit investor power, which we think is more in the spirit of DAOs. So if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, totally. So LCA is definitely what we're shooting for. For those that don't know what an LCA is, it's a limited cooperative association. Washington State has passed laws that recognize LCAs as recently as, I believe, 2020. So right on time. And, we think DAOs and co-ops, we could find a happy middle ground where they would marry each other. And we believe the LCA route is it's the closest aligned to what DAOs are. I don't think there's anything that comes closer than that. I might be wrong. I'm not a legal expert, but I believe that's what it is. Right now, we're not an LCA, but we are definitely going to move in that direction. I don't see us not becoming an LCA, but for legal reasons, we have the LLC right now, just to cover our asses. Really, it really boils down to that. But the spirit of the DAO, the co-op, it lives in us. It lives in me, and I just want to see this come into reality so bad. I'm sure a lot of people want to see it too. But I know Dustin, John, and everyone else of our core team members definitely want to see this happen. So, yeah.
I know in Wyoming that DAOs are legal, and I think now in Tennessee recently DAOs became a recognized entity, and in other countries, Marshall Islands, actually, there's a DAO called MIDAO, MIDAO, that because I know that DAOs in a lot of states, even Wyoming included, that they require the name to actually be attached to one or two people as a person to be responsible for it. And I know in the Marshall Islands, they don't require that. It can be just as a whole group. And so I don't know. I mean, I know you guys are probably exploring tons of options. So, with the research, you probably know a heck of a lot more about this stuff than I do. So that's, but I'm just curious as to what you found.
I actually looked at my DAO, and it was a really cool server and that's what I love about DAOs just in general. While I do have my whatever conflicts with Discord and how it's laid out. It's nice that you can pop into like any Discord and just be like, hey, what's up? How's it going? And so I did pop into the MyDAO Discord and talk to them. And that's certainly something that I've kept in the back of my mind. I think it wasn't something that we thought we might be able to get in time. And then we weren't sure with it working with Washington if there would be extra paperwork involved and everything. But we actually got like a member or two jumping into our Discord from the MyDAO Discord, just from popping in, trying to research them.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's been really cool. Like as you do research, you just kind of like, I don't know, it's like that game Katamari. You just kind of start collecting things and getting bigger and bigger. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So as far as blockchains, have you guys been experimenting around and tossing around different ideas of what blockchain you think you might be leaning towards, or or is that just TBD, kind of under the hood, hush hush for now?
We're more focused on be a DAO. Like there's a lot of projects even on chain that have the facade of a DAO. Like for example, you just what actually constitutes a DAO? Like how decentralized do you need to be to decentralize autonomous? I don't really know. And you're really pushing the limits here when you're applying a physical operation to this. Like if you look at Uniswap, I heard that like very few token holders actually vote and participates. So is that truly a DAO? Because a very small, like let's say 3%, I'm not sure it's 3%, but I think it's around that number. If only that many people participate, then isn't it just those 3% really running the show? Or is that what matters? Like, does that matter? I guess. So at what point along a scale is a DAO and not just a different wrap to the DAO? And that's kind of one thing we're trying to figure out ourselves. I mean, it's not to distract from the blockchain question, but at this point, we're more focused on governance and how to figure out operation, what token works. We are exploring, like ETH addresses are just ubiquitous. That's why we're using ETH addresses for our simulated tokenomics. But there's many other that can't work. So everybody knows as fast transactions, or maybe move to layer 2 or something else. In the end, I think it will be a marriage of many things. I just got off a phone actually off of another gentleman running a project who's using VeChain to track a producer growing coffee beans, and then track it all the way to the cup. And that's on VeChain. Like we don't have to go on one blockchain. We can just be like our tokenomics can be on one blockchain, but many blockchains as a solution. Like similar to how a single company doesn't have to be perfectly vertically integrated. They can use many solutions as part of their overall company.
Yeah, that's a really good thought, that you could use a lot of different chains. You could use multiple chains. You could use, for instance, Ethereum is just kind of this layer 1 security solution, and then, or even Bitcoin for that matter. And then you could use another blockchain for the day-to-day transactional type of thing, like Near protocol, or like VeChain for the supply chain management. And there's so many, but governance is, like you touched on that. That's a really huge topic, and trying to get people to participate and vote is like pulling teeth. And it's not just in your DAO; it's in every DAO. I think at the government, one of the maximum average governance activity voting rates is like 10% of a DAO. So. It's really hard.
Yeah, percentage gets lower and lower. Like you have Discord, which is like supposed to be the DAO, right? And then of Discord, how many people actually are token holders? And of token holders, how many are actually participating?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys explored any other type of DAO platforms?
Well, we played around with Aragon
Okay.
a little bit, but we haven't really dived deep into it. I mean, I'm familiar with Aragon, but we haven't talked about our DAO
Yeah.
solution yet. It's still a work in progress.
Okay. So we're getting closer to the end, but I would talk about this pop-up shop and what you're doing, and this live event that you have going on. This really important, and I want to help you guys to recruit as many people to that. I won't be able to fly to Seattle, unfortunately, and attend that, but maybe, yeah. But yeah, I want to hear about that.
Yeah, so we have the pop-up event literally two weekends from now, April 30th, May 1st, at the Seattle NFT Art Museum. We're going to be there from noon to 6, serving 12-ounce pour-over coffee for $5 with a side of governance. What I like to think it as a side of governance. So I'm super excited. I've been in the coffee game for 12 years, so I could brew a pretty good cup of coffee. I hope. I mean, I'm gonna, just pat myself on the back with that one, I think. But yeah, so we have that event 2 days, and we're also conducting 2 workshops. So we have a workshop on Web3 enabled wallets, and later in the day, we also we'll have a DAO 101 workshop. So, and that's on both days. So yeah, we're excited about that, and I'm excited about pouring my favorite cup of coffee for everyone to purchase, and just to talk about coffee and to talk about our project, to talk about ownership, and yeah, really just get into the details with just like the average person, just letting them know what we're trying to build. We're trying to build a community. We're trying to build a new business model that doesn't suck. Just to take the words from Dustin, I hope that's okay, because I know that's your phrase that you came up with, but I think it's so beautiful, and I think the time is now. We see what's going on in the world right now. People are hungry for a different business model, and we want to be that. We want to share this gift, this thing we're building with everyone. It's a cafe that everyone owns.
That's really cool. You're going to do a workshop on Web3. And so it's an intro workshop, like Web3 101, DAO 101, and stuff like that. Just kind of
intro Web3 wallets, and then DAO 101. Yeah, some history and DAOs. The history of DAOs is fascinating. So hopefully it's a good one.
Wow, that's a really cool topic, history of DAOs. I mean, DAOs are so new. Do DAOs even have a history right now?
That's true, man.
We all know
we are.
Books.
Yeah, we are. We're writing DAO history right at this moment, and you guys are writing DAO history with this whole new fusion with brick and mortar. So that's really cool.
First of its kind.
Yeah,
a stake in a stand.
Yeah, I actually did a search, and I was like, I did a Coffee DAO search and Cafe DAO search, and I was trying to find other like projects. And the only thing that I could find that was working in this space with kind of along the same vein was the Universal Coffee DAO. And what they're doing is they're on Polygon, and they're just basically trying to get coffee shops that currently exist into implementing rewards systems using the Polygon blockchain. And so I don't mean to give them a shout out on your show, but I was just trying to, but the point was I was trying to find other type of projects that may be doing the same thing, and I couldn't find anything. So
we'll have to check them out, definitely. But yeah, and we definitely want to be transparent with either our successes or failures on this, so that other people can kind of pick up the flag and run with it, is kind of, I think, the goal of pretty much every member in the DAO, since it is such an experimental thing. It's hopefully people can learn from it and apply it to other things besides coffee, whatever that might be. Hot dog stands, I don't know what it might be, but yeah, like hopefully copy paste that to different businesses and just kind of make it more accessible to everybody.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like I said at the beginning of the show, coffee shops seem to be like the place for a lot of experimentation and new ideas. Viva la revolution! So it all started in coffee shops. Yes. But before we end here, I would like to maybe get some final thoughts from you guys. Maybe go around the table. We'll start with you since you're already up here, John.
Oh man, final thoughts as far as anything in particular?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. So I will say, like, we if anybody does jump into our Discord, I don't know if you can post a Discord link with the podcast or anything, but you can always go to
the Cafe DAO. I can. Yeah, send me the link and I'll put it in the description.
If you jump in there, definitely come in, say hi, let me know, because we kind of just revamped our onboarding and I've been desperate to have somebody give me some feedback. Nobody has yet. So that's one final thought. But we definitely need more people. Like, we need more ideas. We need people to help with those LCA rules. We need people to like throw ideas at us about what blockchains we should operate on and that kind of thing. So that's really my kind of final thoughts for it.
Okay. Dustin, would you like to go next?
Yeah. It's super exciting what we're doing, in my opinion, because we're about to tackle so many problems that people probably haven't even started thinking about yet of how to apply Web3 to the real world. Like, one simple example is like payments. How do you actually, what we're trying to do is give customers tokens as they make purchases, but how do you actually make that happen? Because you need a Web3 address, you need a POS system to talk to each other. Is that the single way to have that interaction work? If that is, then that's a single point of failure. Like, there's so many real life issues that can't be solved just by thinking through and writing papers and like trading on Uniswap. We're going to go and actually try to implement things. A lot of things will fail, but we'll learn so much from it. And what we learn from it, we plan to share with the world. It might not be applicable to coffee shops even, but if, I don't know, any other business that's even remotely related can probably learn something from this. So I'm excited to just, whether it's a great success to Cafe DAO or a great failure, I would like people to look at this and have many case studies and say what went well, what went wrong, and then what you can do to take forward from it.
Nice. Awesome. And Dan, I will give you the final thought on here.
Well, my final thought, I guess, would be I'm just really excited to meet everyone out there that wants to come and check us out at the pop-up and just speak with the community. We're out here in Seattle. It's a huge coffee loving community here, and I'm just excited to brew my favorite cup of coffee and share it with the rest of the community out there. And I look forward to having many conversations with everyone.
Right on. Okay. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on, you guys. I love the fact that you're not only evangelizing coffee, which I like coffee, but evangelizing a DAO space and Web3 and the whole idea of crypto beyond just speculative assets. So I really appreciate that. And we're in it for the tech for sure. So thanks a lot. What is the last thing, the best way to reach you guys?
TheCafeDAO.com is our website. Where our Discord's active. We're all active there, all three of us. So you can always jump in there, and you can find the link through the website.
Okay, and Twitter?
Twitter is also the Cafe DAO. You can find us there at the Cafe DAO, and then also on Instagram as well.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. And we'll call this one a wrap.
Thanks so much, Sean.
Thank you for making it to the end of this program. If you actually like this content, give a thumbs up.
And if you want to hear more, just hit the subscribe button. I'm available on YouTube, Odyssey, and BitChute, and on all the major podcasting platforms in audio version. Spotify specifically. If you would like to follow and leave a review, that would help a lot. I am also available on Twitter at EurekaJohn1. That's EUREKA John, JOHN, and the number 1. My DMs are always open. Feel free to shoot me a message. Thanks again.